Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rensler with Skyrender Studios, and welcome to our first tutorial video for how to play Factorio. This tutorial is for people who have never played this game before, just have seen videos, friends won't shut up about it, and you don't know what you're doing. I was at that point, everybody who's played this game was at that point, the developers were at this point at one time or another. So, we're going to get through this. So, some of your friends may say, oh yeah, it's easy, just click this, that, and I went through a bunch of online videos and they raced through the very beginning of this game. And that's frustrating. So I'm not going to do that to you guys. So at this point, all I've done is launch the game. So we're going to go to options just real quick, just to show you what can be done with this. So you can say, I want full screen or not, and we're going to go to graphics there to check that. I want full screen or not, I want my mini map or not. It's actually really useful to have the mini map there all the time. And the next three here, these are performance-based options. So you can turn these off to get better frame rates. You can also, there's a VSync button here that you can use. If the UI is too small or too big, that's what this slider is for. Very basic graphics options. We're going to ignore the rest and we're going to go back. We're also going to go back again. This is to play a normal level, what I call a air quotes normal level. We're not going to touch the generators at all in terms of map generation. We're just going to hit the default button. So we're going to hit play here. And instead of starting a campaign, they have a really cool campaign, and that does really try to help you how to play the game, but they do assume that you know that these basics that I'm going to be teaching you today. So we're going to start with these super basics. We're going to hit new game. We're going to ignore everything that's on the screen, and we're just going to hit generate. It's the easiest way that we can do this. Okay, so now we're generated. Now we're okay. So we've got tips and tricks here on the screen, and you can choose to read these or not, and these are basically always be created for you. The furnace can smelt stone bricks and stone steel, etc. And there's a whole bunch of things. We're gonna ignore them. And of course, this guy is to tell you what are we doing in this game. Well, our goal is, as shown here, is to construct a rocket silo and launch a rocket that has a satellite on it. Go all the way up to craziness. Okay, so you'll see the mini-map fill in the top right, and we've got the music on in the background. Here's our game. So this orange stuff here, that's copper, and we've got some stone here and some trees, and there's some oil deposits. There's some stone here that we can mine. This guy we can't mine right yet. We'll get to that later. There's some stone rock over here. We'll zoom out a little bit, see what else we can get. Cool. So we've got a coal deposit down here. We've got a bit more stone over here. And the primary mineral that we want, I don't actually see in my minimap right now, and that is iron. So we're just going to go look for that. So WASD moves your character. Your mouse wheel does the zooming that I'm doing right now. This is zoom out, mouse wheel back, mouse wheel forward for zooming up. So we're going to hit A for left, W for up, D for right, and S for down. So that is your movement, and yes, it handles standard 8 ways, so you can, combinations of keys will make him run in different directions. We're just going to turn the audio down just a little bit here. The music is pretty cool, but we just don't want it to overpower. Okay. So now, to get the game started, to show you exactly how everything starts, we will need iron. But you will notice in your UI, down here on this bar, this is actually your hotbar. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are these spots here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if I look closely at my guy and I push number 1, you'll see that now I have the ability to place something. And this is called a burner drill. This uses coal or some kind of fuel, like wood, to mine things from the ground. And you want to put it on top of a deposit. You'll notice right now that it's red, which means I can't really put it here, because it's not going to be useful. It's not going to do anything. And the game will tell you when you place something that it has no purpose. So I'm going to show you very basically how to place this. We're going to run over to a deposit, and you'll notice it changes to green. It says, yes, this tool can be useful. So we click that, and nothing happens because, as it tells you with this nice flashy icon here, there's no fuel. It doesn't have to be coal. It can be wood. Later on, you'll make solid fuels and all kinds of craziness. So yeah, you could power this with all kinds of possible ways. But right now, it wants fuel. So I placed that by using left click. So I'm going to hold right click on it. What we're going to do is you'll see this progress bar at the bottom. I just reclaimed it. I just scooped it back up, and now it's back in my inventory. It's not parts. You don't have to rebuild it. You don't have to repair it or salvage it. You just get that item back in your inventory, and it will move into the first available slot in your hotbar, if there are any slots available. Okay. So everybody shows you, oh, you run right out to an iron deposit and you start mining. Well, how do we mine? It's very important to understand how we mine. So there are a lot of menus and screens in here, and you want to push E to get to some of those. So I just pushed E, and I have an inventory now. So I have iron plates. Well, we can do some cool things with that, right? Well, yeah, but you need to see what's going on first. So we've got menus over here, and if you just touch these buttons, you'll see things move. So we're going to go through this. First one's logistics. Making things go places or store things, right? So we've got a chest that I can make. I can make some transport belts to take stuff, put it one place to another. Same thing with an inserter. I've got a normal inserter here, which uses electricity. This burner inserter here, that uses coal or wood. I also have pipes here. I can put fluids in them. Basically any kind of fluids. I can take oil or water, and we can do gas, and you'll get into a all big plethora of fuels and fuel fluids that you can put through there. And we've got electrical poles, because we can make electrical networks. Second one is production, how to produce things. And we are going to use something on this page right now. So we've got an iron axe. So if you wanted to dig something out of the ground, would you use your bare hands? Well, if you absolutely had to, sure. But it's a lot faster to use the tool designed for the job. And since we're digging things in the ground, you want a pickaxe. And that's what this iron axe is. It should say pickaxe. It doesn't. I know. We're going to give this guy a left click here. And automatically, it's going to make my iron axe. Now, you'll notice something. So I'm going to have to put some graphics on top of this to show you guys. But if you look at it, it says it takes a half a second to make, and it needs 2 iron sticks and 3 iron plates. So look at my inventory here. You'll notice I have 4 iron plates, and the math doesn't immediately add up, but it will. So 3 iron plates, automatically it needs those, and it needs 2 iron sticks. So what it did is it took an iron plate and made 2 iron sticks out of it. Now that's really important to note, because you don't have to make those iron sticks manually. When you need something and you have enough raw materials, you can click on it and it will just make what you need. And that's awesome, because it saves you time. So they thought of that. It's what we call a dependency. You have to have all of these specific materials before you can make this thing. So if you have enough raw resources like your iron plates, now you can't use iron ore, you have to smelt it first, but if you have enough plates, it will just build it for you when you click on it. So that's awesome. So now, and if you want to get rid of this dialogue, and if you want to get rid of any of these dialogues, you push E and it goes away. I hit it and it right when it auto-saved, so that's why I didn't process my command there. So down here in the bottom right hand corner, you'll see that I have an iron axe. I have durability, I have mining power, and I have physical damage, because we will get to our little friends that this is their native planet. They don't really like us here. We're going to find that out later on. And this pickaxe can do damage to them if we really had to use it. Hopefully you have a gun, and you'll see right next to that, I do have a gun. And I have 10 mags full of ammo. That goes faster than you think. Just keep that in mind. So now we have a pickaxe. So, okay, I have a pickaxe. And I have ore. How do I mine this stuff, right? We're going to walk right over to it. And you'll notice this little highlighted guy that goes over these different grid pieces. As soon as you get too far away, you'll notice, because it'll change colors. That's yellow and that's red. To me, it looks a little orangish, but whatever. So you've got yellow and red. I can mine this. I cannot mine that. It's too far away, right? So I'm going to press and hold right click. And that has always been super loud, and I hate that. But anyway, I just grabbed a piece of iron ore. And you'll note it, a copper ore, I apologize, copper ore. So it's not down here in my hotbar, but if we push E for inventory, we notice it's there. Sweet! Alright, so we have a piece of copper ore, and if you keep going, what you'll notice, not only does that little white status guy pop up and say how many ore you've just grabbed, it's always 1, but it will tell you how many you have in total. So if you're aiming for 5, of course you could do the math, but it also shows you, which you think is pretty cool. So 5. Now if I look, I have 5 copper ore. Sweet. So what we're going to do is zoom out a little bit and find some of our coal, which is right down here. This is actually a pretty large deposit, pretty sizable. That's awesome. We're going to mine a little bit of coal. We're going to get 5 coal. Just get this out here. And this is just so we can make some plates, just so I can show you. Okay, so we have 5 coal. So now I can use the furnace. So the furnace requires fuel. Obviously it heats up and it smelts things. You can smelt iron, you can smelt copper, and you can even smelt coal itself, and I forget what it turns into. You can obviously use wood for fuel, but I'm going to use coal as fuel. So we're going to grab this guy. I pushed 2, by the way, and that 1 that's right next to my mouse cursor, that tells me how many furnaces I have. If I have a few that are on my hotbar, but I have more in my normal inventory, it will tell me how many I have. So if I need to make a whole bunch and start laying out a whole big grid or something, then I can do that, and I know exactly how many I have left. I don't have to keep checking my inventory to find out. So we're just going to click and place that guy there. It's going to tell us it doesn't have any fuel. Alrighty. And when it gets night, that's a nice little feature, your guy turns his flashlight on. He has a headlamp on. So what we do is we highlight to put things in a furnace, you left click it, just like that, and now the furnace's inventory is up here and my inventory is right here. So now I can take things from my hotbar or my inventory and I can put it inside this furnace. So obviously this is where fuel goes, right? So I'm going to take my fuel, I'm just going to left click it just once, and I'm not holding it down. So now I've picked up an entire stack. To move a stack, you just left click it. And now I have control of the stack. I can put it anywhere down here. And I'm going to place it right there in the fuel. So now you'll notice it's not blinking. It's not complaining about fuel anymore because now it has fuel. Now it needs something to do. So if you've played Minecraft, you'll remember this or you'll recognize this. But my source resource goes here and my result goes over there. So we're going to pick up our copper ore. But maybe I don't want all of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press and hold right click. And I can even let go of right click, and now I've got half the stack. It does the math and gives you half the stack. So I grabbed 3 instead of 2. Well, what if I only want 1? Maybe I right clicked on accident. I can just right click and it will put 1 in there. And now it's gone. So I'm going to left click and drop the stack in. And what it's going to do is do the rest of my copper ore here. But you can also hold down control and left click, and it will automatically take the entire stack and place it into that item. So that was hold control, push left click. Automatically moves the stack. You don't have to click, drag, any of that noise. Click, click, move, whatever. You don't have to do any of that. Just hold control, left click. It's awesome. So now I've got 5 copper plates. That's pretty cool. And I have a furnace that you'll notice that this doesn't go down, this doesn't dwindle because the stone furnace is actually off right now. So this is how much fuel you have. And I have 4 coal plus the remainder of this bar. That's like 60% or something like that. So now I've got copper plates and iron plates. That's awesome. Alrighty, so one last thing before we go. I'm just going to show you guys how to use wood as fuel. So we have a pickaxe, and that's sufficient enough. You don't have to have a axe kind of axe with a flat wide blade. So we're going to right click this guy and we mine it really fast and very quickly. So we just picked up 2 raw wood. So if we look at our inventory here, we'll have 2 raw wood there, and it gives you the fuel value of 4 millijoules. So we're going to come over to our furnace. We're going to left click that guy. And we're going to control click the coal out, and we're going to control click the wood in. Now, what you get with the wood is it burns faster, but it does the same job. It does the same job as coal. So you get the same efficiency in terms of how long it takes to make that item or smelt an item, but the wood lasts definitely a less amount of time. It has less energy. It's less dense. So we're going to zoom out here, and we're going to try to find some iron real quick, because I really don't see much of it on our mini-map. I mean, honestly, this is a great fuel spawn, but this is not really that good of a iron spawn. We may have to actually run around a little bit to try to find this. And yeah, I'm having trouble locating for iron. I apologize. Iron. And of course, you'll see that the mini-map will fill itself out as you adventure out into the world. There you go. Coal deposit. Oh, okay. So, if you look in the top right by the mini-map, you'll see that we've got some not so friendly friends over there. We're avoiding those guys. I'm going the other direction. You don't want to mess with those guys. Not yet. Okay, we found iron. Perfect. Oh, and we have more friends down there. Awesome. If you get too close, they will not appreciate it at all. All right, so we get in here. We're gonna mine some iron. So this is what iron looks like. It has a bluish tint. Okay. So now we have iron. Now we have fuel. We have iron plates. We have copper plates. You know, honestly, I think that works as the basics for Factorio. I'm really hoping you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be posting up a whole bunch of these about Factorio, just the understanding. I am one of those min-maxer guys, and maybe eventually we'll get into efficiencies with Factorio, but right now I really just wanted to focus on the basics on how to play the game. So I'm really glad you were here. Thank you for watching. Go ahead and kick the buttons. Kick all the buttons. If you hate this video, leave a comment. If you love the video, leave a comment. If there's a game that you want me to do absolute noob tutorials on, and I think that's what I'm going to call the series, just go ahead and let me know, okay? And peace and chicken grease. Everybody have fun.
And I want to say this to the television audience. I made my mistakes, but in all of my years of public life, I have never profited from public service. I've earned every cent.